What's up, guys? We are going back to goblins today for Mythic Legion's Advent of Decay with Snagg. So we've got him here in that standard Mythic Legion style packaging. You can see him there in the big window. We've got a bile for this little dude on the side, and then we've got that standard backer card artwork on the back side. So let's pull him out and take a look. Alright guys, here's our little goblin thief out of the package. This is definitely one that I've been interested to take a look at. I mean, it's a goblin. I've already said how much I've been very much interested in getting into these figures. So let's kick it off with Articulation. First, of course, we are going to move this head, and it's pretty mobile. It goes all the way around. It's on a ball peg as usual. He can go out really far, so you can make a nice jutting out motion, but he also looks down really far as well. So there's great range of motion there, and bobble side to side. The arms go all the way out, swivel. We have got a single jointed elbow hinge, about 90 degrees roughly. There is rotation at the elbow, rotation at the gauntlet, rotation at the wrist, and of course hinge. He does have a diaphragm swivel, so he goes back and forth, side to side. We do have a waist twist in there. It's a little harder to move because his chest is so small, but just kind of grip it and it'll go. Legs go all the way out, kick forward, kick back. There's a thigh cut. We have got a knee swivel. We have got single jointed hinge. And then we have got a rotation, a rocker, and of course hinge down on those ankles. So, you know, he has basically standard Mythic Legion's articulation from what we've seen so far. And I think he moves pretty well. I've been able to get him into some fairly dynamic poses for such a kind of small, squatty body. Of course, as with most of these figures, where my real draw here isn't so much in their articulation, it's in the look. And we've previously looked at gonks, which is a very, very different style of goblin. And what's interesting is that so many of these goblins are, in fact, very different from each other. So gonks is a very heavily armored, warrior kind of goblin. This guy, as his name implies, Snagg, he's a thief. So he is very minimally armored, and he looks to me, at least in a little bit of a sense, he looks like a more traditional goblin, especially up at the head. But as far as the body goes, he's a little less detailed than some of the other figures, but I kind of like it because it fits the character. What I don't like is that the painting on the arms is matte enough to the point where it's scraped, and it was kind of scraped when it came out of the package. So I've got some scuffs on there. It's not a deal breaker or anything, but it's something to note. I do like his plate armor that he's got on his chest. We, of course, have got the ports on his back. Everything is really patinaed, though, so it's kind of a black armor, but it's got a brown, kind of red, rusty hue all over it, which is really great. I do like his belt buckle with all of these other clasps that are individually painted, and of course we've got all these rivets on his kind of floppy waist loincloth down here that are painted, and he has, standard kind of small goblin knight armor for his boots down there with, again, individually painted buckles. Same on the gauntlets, but these are more of a leather armor look. So he's kind of like a piecemeal look almost. He's got plate armor, he's got leather armor, he's got mail, and he's just got a whole bunch of different looks going on. So it looks like he's kind of pulled his look together from the battlefield or just, from anywhere he can find. And I do, in general, very much dig his look. I think it's very well done. Of course, the quality of the sculpt and the paint is what you would expect from a Mythic Legion's figure. It is very much on point. My only real gripe is that he's got a lot of bare, it's not skin obviously, but we've got a lot of matte paint up here that does see a little wear and tear, at least in my experience thus far. I mentioned that he does look like a quote-unquote traditional goblin to me, and a lot of that comes in from the head. So you can just see here we've got a more elongated head. He's got this very nicely sculpted just kind of hood that drapes over top of his head. It looks kind of, it's kind of saggy. It's got a bunch of wrinkles sculpted in there, some stitching that goes all the way across. He, of course, has his humongous goblin ears. We've got the big goblin nose, and he's just got a nice little devious kind of expression on his face. The teeth are very well painted. I like his little sunken beady eyes, a lot of wrinkles, a lot of sculpt, a lot of life in this face. So I'm in general just really happy with it. My favorite part of the look of this figure is the face, is the head sculpt. It's just incredibly well done, and it very much looks like what I kind of think of when I think of a goblin-type creature. And since I name-dropped him, here is Gonks alongside Snagg, and just for a quick comparison, and there's not really anything to compare, so to speak, it's more just to show how different they are. You can see that Snagg is a little more slender. Gonks is beefier because he's wearing all this armor. You can't really tell he's even a goblin except for the fact that we've got all of that green skin under his mask and, of course, the ears that pop out. But other than that, they're very similar in height. They're just, two different types of goblin. They kind of fulfill different roles in the mythos and on your shelf. So nothing crazy to compare against, just here you go, you can see a couple goblins side by side as far as what they look like in the line thus far. Now, as far as accessories go for Snagg here, he actually comes with a lot of stuff. They really play up the whole thief aspect of his character. So, we've got quite a spread, and some of it's his and some of it's really not his. The main thing that I, take away as his weapon is this kind of dagger, which is just gnarly with a bone handle, all kinds of spikes coming out of the back, a jagged blade. This is what I prefer for him, just in a general sense. But the overall appeal of this figure is that he is a thief and he comes with all this other stuff. So he does, of course, have the adapters. He's got 2 of the sheaths, so you can put them around his waist or to put them around his shoulders. We have got this kind of standard Knight's Blade. We've also got another one of the standard Mythic Legion style swords, so we got 2 of those. We have got this small shiny silver and gold dagger, and then we've got some various armor pieces that definitely don't go to him, but he can still use them. So we've got some pauldrons here. We've got one, it's a little more ornate. We've got one that is kind of a standard knight's one, like what the Templars have. So they do fit in the pegs on his back. I had a little trouble getting them into mine, but they do fit on there. He looks really weird with them, but, it's kind of the thing where he's just acquiring stuff and he's putting it all over himself. And then we've got these antlers, which are, they go in helmets, so some figures will have these. And then we've got one of these horns, like Rhaegor's horns, in his helmet. So he comes with a whole bunch of stuff. Just the idea that he has amassed all this junk slash treasure slash weaponry, and he's just carrying it on him at all times. And you can absolutely load this little guy up with a ton of stuff and just, put everything here basically on the figure at any given time. So overall, this is a figure that I had every expectation of liking, and frankly, I absolutely love this little guy. I like the slightly less armored look on this figure. He looks kind of more like a traditional goblin. He's very different from Gonks. He's very armored. The Snagg is very unarmored, but this guy comes with so much stuff. He comes with a lot of different accessories. Like I said, it really plays up the mythology, the backstory of this character, not to mention the fact that the figure is pretty much expertly crafted to begin with. I don't have any issues. I love the look. I love the hat that he's got, and I just dig everything about this little dude. The goblins are, as far as I'm concerned, some of the stars of the show this time around. So that's going to do it for this look at the 4 Horsemen Mythic Legion's Advent of Decay Snagg figure. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.